know.
you.
I only slept for 3 days. All right, we're good?
Think
All right, all right, we're going here. Welcome everybody to the New Windsor Town Board Workshop. Before we get started, get everybody to rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. Okay, we have the entire board with us and then some. We have Deputy Supervisor Steve Moreau, Councilwoman Sylvia Santiago, Councilwoman Eve Lincoln, Councilman Charlie Bro, Highway Superintendent Anthony Feo with us. We got our town clerk, Tricia Marino, we never received the package with us, Susan Seibel, town attorney Dave Dagon, the police chief, Danny Valeri. Everybody's hiding well today. And off camera is our IT specialist, Danielle Better. Okay, the first item on the agenda is just we're going to renew the lease for the cemetery rental. So it's a renewal of the current lease that we have at the cemetery at the house there. All we're doing is executing a new lease that will set forth the same terms that we previously approved by the board. One provision, the option to renew was not included in the old existing lease, so we're adding that version of the lease. Is now being added so that the tenant and the town can resign and continue the lease. Again, this is the same exact lease that we've had in place with the current tenant, and also has still the 3% escalation clause in it. So we're just going to renew it. It actually, so the tenant now is currently going month by month and has not renewed a lease, and it's kind of. I kind of feel bad for her because you can't, live month to month. Any day we come up and say, all right, you're going, we have no reason to go over. She's been kind of being our security, our eyes down there. So it's been good. So we're going to just add that wording in there and renew that part of the lease. And then,
Is the rates going up by 3%?
yeah, it is. Yeah.
And that was a 1-year lease then?
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to increase that, we're going to add that wording and increase it, but we've already executed it. We're just going to add that. While we're on that, this is just a little addition here. The standard schedule of fees, you're going to see a change in there. So we're just adding, we're upping the, and nobody has it here, and I can say we're upping the fees for disinterment. So we just actually did one for the first time, or maybe the second time, but the first time, I think it was the second one. The first one was a small, this was a more of a full and everything. And at the, when the funeral home came to do disinterment, he thought we were kind of charging a little low for it. And he says, we're not up to par with the rest of the towns that they deal with. So we're going to raise the disinterment fee from 1,750 to 2,100. And
That's when you put the.
they're actually removing the body. At
Oh, that one.
So yeah, so they're actually relocating. They relocated. So many people get different plots or
Right.
the family. So just so you're going to see that on the agenda that we're going to add. We're just changing the standard schedule of fees for that particular disinterment thing.
Mhm.
And again, that was at the recommendation of one of the funeral homes. So thank them for that. Number 2 on the lease, or on the agenda is the KMO contract for water and sewer. I think everybody has the rates and everything for that. The 24. So just so you know, both this one and the MHE one has all been already put into the budget. So it's budgeted for. We sat down and we dealt with I dealt with the owners of KMO and the water rate, the rates that they were asking for. The year before, we really lowballed them and kind of beat them up on that. And they were able to keep the rates down. We went with the rates that they were asking for on the water. The sewer, I asked him if he would, since we're doing a lot of the sewer plant, the upgrades and the bonding, I asked him if he would take it a little easy on us, which he did. So he didn't, he backed off on some of the rates he wanted for that. So the rates for KMO for the 2025, which is in the budget or what you see there. So we'll be authorizing that as well to engage in the, so that we have a contract with KMO, 3-year contract. In the clause in the contract is to negotiate the actual increases each year. Although the rest of the contract is the same. So that's going to be for next month. Anybody got any questions? I know you probably just got them or something, but it's pretty straightforward there. The next one's MHE's contract, our engineer contract. I did talk to him. He did give us obviously his quote, if you will. After going back and forth with MHE, we negotiated so the reimbursables that are done by an applicant He'd asked for, you can just see the scale there. He asked for specific numbers for him, which were actual and what were requested and what he was given. And then the reimbursables that the town has to pay, him and I haggled back and forth, and he agreed to take a reduction in, not a reduction, but not what he was asking for. He was asking for 114 an hour. And we agreed to 109. And then the 204 numbers for the reimbursable. So again, these are all, you'll see these all reflected in our current budget. So these numbers were all plugged in. Luckily, we had them ahead of time. So they were, like I said, they were kind enough to sit there with me, and we worked some numbers out, and they worked for us. I did them with it was myself and the contractor did this, so we. Thing on that. Their MAT's been good with us, so they do a lot of work for us, so I appreciate their work on that. The next one is the building department software. So the IT department, specifically John McDonald and the building department, I believe, along with the fire inspectors and stuff, have been dealing with this new program. So the current program they have is Beyond End of Life. It's like I think a DOS type program. It's like old. The new program they agreed on, they went through, it's $58,000, which has been earmarked out of ARPA money. We're going to use the ARPA money to pay for that. So that obviously is going to be no cost to us. For the 2025 cost includes the 58,000 includes the all of the fees and everything to do all the software upgrading and everything. And in 2026, the cost going forward will be $9,700 a year. So $9,700 will be the maintenance fees for that. So the $5,800, and this is going to be, like I said, to replace an extremely antiquated system. So we have normally with this price, you'd go out to bid on it. We're going to piggyback off of a Westchester contract for the management system, which our legal counsel looked through. I think everybody might have a memo from him in reference to why the people piggybacking is legal and we can do it, so we don't have to go out to bid for it. So we're just gonna, it's similar to what we do with Blacktop and stuff like that. If there's a firm out there that's cheaper with Blacktop, we can go piggyback off the contract with them. So we're gonna do that. So they're just waiting for their authorization. They can buy it and they can start doing what they gotta do to get that up and running for all their staff. The next thing on the list is, so I had, several months ago, I approached the chief and I told him I was out to the Newburgh Police Department and I saw, a canine monument out there for another past and current canine officers. They're a small, cute little monument. It was kind of, they actually ordered the monument, had some engraving on the stone and then added plates after with it. So I had talked to the chief, and I know him being a former canine officer. Sure, he was going to say no. I said, hey, I think it's a pretty good idea that we can do something like this if we can try this. So the chief was back and forth with a company called Billings Memorial, and for a total cost of the cost to the town, if you will, for the monument is $9,400, which is going to be paid out of some donations as well as some granting money that we got. I think everybody got a copy of that, right? You got a copy. So you got a copy of the invoice as well as what the monument looks like. It actually has, so it's going to basically be a headstone with a bronze plate on it. And this is the plate that the chief did come up with. And there's, if you notice on this side here, there's all room for expansion, if you will.
Put it where?
For any, I'm sorry.
Put it where?
So it's gonna go right in front of the police department, right? If you pull the park line and you're looking at the police building, there's a window that looks into the lobby, and it's kind of centered on that. The buildings and grounds will do the foundation and do all that stuff. So I think the chief, we haven't picked it. Well, I say he hasn't. I picked it, the perfect date yet that he wants to. We have to wait for it to get in and put it up, and then he's going to do a dedication based on, I don't know. You're going to try to do some canine. Something
For the anniversary.
Yeah, it's like anniversary or something. He's gonna invite all the previous canine officers and people that were actually had a handler. And then hopefully, that'll happen sometime in the spring. So that's just something on there that's gonna be, again, no cost to the taxpayers on that. That's all gonna be granting.
So you said donations and where
And
else?
donations and granting money.
Grant.
Yeah.
And to add names, their plaques, is that what?
So
this is?
if
'Cause I
you look
can't
at,
see
yeah,
them.
it's tough, I'm sorry, it's tough to look at. So if you do see these names on here,
Mhm.
these are actually plates.
Still like plate.
Oh,
They're
okay,
actually
gotcha,
plates that go
okay.
on, they almost
Right.
look at like mausoleums, you ever see the plates on a
Yeah.
mausoleum? It's the same type of thing.
Thank you.
And they're gonna be plates so they can add on there, so I'm quite certain I'll be long gone before that gets filled up. So that's gonna be coming soon, hopefully. So the next one on there, so kind of the next three are appointments, so we have the, Fire Prevention Board right now, and the board is in need of a civilian member. So right now, the board is made up of three Velsky firemen, three New Windsor Cossack Bridge firefighters, one Salisbury Mills firefighter, and two civilian members. The two civilian members cannot be active members of a fire department as well. So, the one of the civilian members that's resigning is Jeff Barrett, who's in my office. Jeff just felt that a couple of times that there's been some things on the agenda that he had to go vote on that he felt uncomfortable with as far as maybe being in conflict, whether it be a pro or con conflict.
Mhm.
So he said, listen, it's just best that I not get in the middle of, especially working out of this office here. So Jeff had tendered his resignation, thanking the Fire Prevention Board. We spoke to the board chairman, Steve Sager, and they came up with a member, John Seymour. John, who used to be a member of Vesgate, he's in the ambulance corps now. He lives on 19 Spring Rock Road. New Windsor. Hey, John has agreed to, I spoke to John on the phone, he's agreed to be the civilian member on it. So it was, one of their board picks. They do variances and, whether it be fire lanes or sprinkler systems and stuff like that. So, but he's actually a good pick because he's familiar with the fire service as well. And not a member of the fire department in town. So that'll be on the agenda, for that. The reappointment of planning board. So we have two, planning board reappointments, Harry Ferguson, who's like kind of the number two, if you will, on the planning board, and James Smith, who's an alternate. Right now, we tried him out the first time into the year, so both of those, Harry and James have agreed to re-up, so they're gonna re-up for their terms, on the board. So I thank them for, coming back on their planning board, does a fine job. And the zoning board as well is looking to, there's two members, the chairman, George Rodriguez, expires at the end of the year, and Suzanne Sweeney, and both of them have agreed to re-up their terms as well. So again, I thank them for all their work on that. The planning and zoning board, I appreciate them doing that. It's a pretty interesting job, the both those planning and zoning boards, they get a lot of stuff done for us, so I appreciate that. Anybody got anything on that? No, you were good. So this next one, and I think some of you got some double letters on, and that might have been my fault, because I was just anxious to get done. So I was contacted by a couple of times by the, not only the owner of the old Hess Station, the Five Corners project, but their engineers and everybody. So they're having a difficult time, with the state on trying to get approvals for their, project at Five Corners. Every time the state gives them a comment, they answer the comment back, and then the state gives them, five more questions that they need to comment on. And he said they're just at wit's end. A lot of that has to do with crosswalking and stuff like that. So the planning board heard their engineer again and the owner of the complex, and they agreed that what the state is looking for is they actually want them to do crosswalks basically in the middle of the intersection, if you will, which is kind of insane. We don't want to have people walking through the Five Corners that much. So we want to kind of have them avoid that. So he had asked if the planning board had done, they had done a motion and a vote to say that, hey, we agree that these, there should not be crosswalks in the middle of the Five Corners intersection or that close to the intersection. They should be pushed back. So after the planning board had done a quick vote on their end, they pushed it to us and said, hey, listen, the recommendation letter's got to come from the town board. Agreeing to, not having crosswalks at the intersection of Five Corners. We believe that this is one of the things that are holding their entire project upstairs. And I agreed to approach the board with it because I had asked the property owner if he would take that god awful unsightly building down that's been there for over 20 years, and he agreed and he did it. I know I believe he ran into some legal issues with, after he removed all the buildings and come to find out there may be a tank or two still buried there. That Hess told them they weren't there and they are there, so I think he's in the middle of litigation with them. But he's still trying to figure this out. So after this letter, actually thank Dave for a lot of this. We put together, if you see these, this is not the actual crosswalk. They're all crooked the way he made them, but in red, we agreed to perhaps maybe do these crosswalks in these red spots here on here, to push them back from the five corners. I know there's one down by Wendy's now. We're talking about pushing the one up on 32 by the Hannaford's light and pushing them away from the intersection. We would be good with my opinion, I think it's the right thing to do. There's pedestrian traffic there, there's no doubt about it, but I think the most important thing would be to push them away from the 500 intersection and not have people walking through it. So, the letter that you see would be the letter that would go to the state here. And it's all these key people here, which I've dealt with several of these folks here. And the owner of the the 500 there, the Hess Law is looking for us to send us, and hopefully the state will kind of get this and say, okay, let's move this guy's application forward and let them build there. So I don't know.
So because of the nature of the project, that the state is requiring sidewalks in the area, is that?
They're being difficult with them for a couple of things, the entrances and exits, so.
Yeah.
For me, and I think the planning board is gonna perhaps put this on them, I think it's quite easy, you come out 32, you can turn in there, right? You can turn into so if you're coming up 32 and the Hess lot's on your right, you turn into it. And in order to leave there, you have to go out 300 and make a right.
Yeah.
No lefts out of there.
Mhm.
So, it's kind of simple, I think, and if you're coming in, would be the same thing, almost do those triangle type entrances where you force people in and out. I think it'll be kind of simple, the way the planning board was gonna, make them do that. They've done it a number of, if you look at going 94, through between Dunkin' Donuts and Mobile, when you turn right into Price Chopper, it's only one way to go into that one price. That's the way they're gonna do these. They're gonna make them swing in and out. So they're gonna control the traffic that way. They just wanted crosswalks from that particular entrance right across the street to the gas station, they call it. And I think it's crazy. I think it's gonna, it would just promote
Right,
people
but
walking through.
pushing them back, will this still satisfy the state, or will they say, no, that's not?
Who
even-
knows? It may not, it may not. It's just us telling you, hey, listen, we're okay with crosswalks. They shouldn't be in the intersection. The planning board agrees they shouldn't be in the intersection. We don't want pedestrian traffic there. I don't know, it's New York City, you can pass jaywalking, right? You can walk through any street down there, so, maybe the state will be like, yeah, we'll let these crosswalks, and we're not against crosswalks, we're just
Right.
against them in the middle of the
Yeah.
intersection.
Are they asking us for these comments or?
So-
Or they're held up or what?
No, well, no, the owner is asking us to reach out to the state and say, hey, listen, we're not in favor of, because they're telling them they want crosswalks, and apparently the state's telling the owner of the property, if the town comes back to us and says they're not in favor of crosswalks in the middle of the intersection, we're okay.
Oh, okay.
Get that right. So, we're gonna look to support this guy's project.
So you're suggesting where to put them, but you don't care if they want it there or not?
No, I mean, listen, it's a good idea to put them there, but if they don't put them in, they don't put them in, it is what it is.
You're not getting
Listen, people have been walking through that intersection before I was alive, and, there's not a problem with them crossing.
And if the
And
state says, okay, we like this compromise, they put them in first and then the project can go.
They
forward?
may do that, or they may put that on the applicant to put them in too. I mean, they're simple painted lines, honestly.
Right.
They don't have, quite frankly, down the street.
Not like a light.
No,
Okay.
down the street, there's the senior housing there, like people, they walk from there, they don't even have one there. You know what I mean, I think it would be a smart spot to put them folks that walk from senior housing to ShopRite, but they don't even have one there, so.
Yeah.
It seems like this is their, the state's MO now, there's a project on 94 there, the yeshiva is looking to add on there, they got approval for it, and they want them to put a push button crosswalk in.
Mhm.
Listen, I'm not against a crosswalk and having them, but I don't, not in the middle of the intersection, or not right there. It's just not a good.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that senior head, because I thought 4 initially was too far back,
Yeah, no,
but that one would get used
no, yeah.
based on where it is.
It would.
So that's actually,
Yeah,
Is
but
there a
the
bus
back-
stop right there too?
it just, would they want like 4A?
No, they
up
may.
closer.
Yeah, they.
You know what I
You
mean?
can add, I mean.
Like that
they're
was
state
so,
roads.
but I think 4 is a good idea,
Yeah.
where it is, regardless of how this thing.
Yeah, and they want crosswalks, and if you look at, there's only one, so the Dunkin' Donuts across the street has a sidewalk. the mobile doesn't, the Verizon store across the street doesn't, so there's no sidewalks.
Right.
You know what I mean? So people are walking in parking lots and lawns and anyway. you know
Yeah,
what
I've
I mean?
seen it,
So,
yeah.
you know, I don't know, I think they're just, they're holding this guy up for whatever reason. I had actually asked him, I asked him, I said, listen, you folks plan on like eminent domain in Five Corners somehow to make a traffic circle? And again, I'll be long gone before that happens, because they're like, listen, it's not in the plans, they can't even pave a road without having, you know, having an issue, without trying to get bondings and all that stuff for it, so I can certainly not see this happening.
But would these crosswalks come with, you know, the pole that's says okay to walk or not walk, you know, the.
Push the button, the lights yellow flash like that.
You got 94
Change traffic, but it says,
No.
okay, the state to go.
You got 94 and 94 in Fort Hill, and Old Fort Hill right there where that crosswalk goes from the senior housing over
Yes,
to
yes, to
the
the
Old Fort
church,
side and then
yeah.
across the street. I think it's gonna be similar to that. It's gonna be simply painted lines. I mean, they can dump a sign in the middle of the street, it's crosswalk, you gotta stop. People aren't
That's
gonna
the
stop
other
People
anyway.
are not gonna stop.
That's
the
what I'm
whole
saying,
problem.
Nobody stops them anyway. But
I don't want sidewalks without the light, cause I
No.
feel like the people are
no,
gonna get around.
they're not, they're just simply
Yeah.
crosswalks, you know,
And
like,
we're
right
gonna
now,
need
people are
sidewalks
just
at some
running
point.
across the street, you know what I mean?
And then-
I don't, me personally, I don't think this particular project at Five Corners is gonna cause, you know, 175 people a day walking across the street down there. It's just not gonna happen. I think they're just putting it on the applicant to say, listen, you need crosswalks in the intersection, which is
That's,
crazy.
that's not right.
It's not practical. It's not something I wanna see. We have cameras at the intersection at Five Corners, and you can sit there and watch them, and people just don't care. You know what I mean? So down the road a little where there's a little more light, you know, lights controlling them, 32 by Hannaford's, by Wendy's.
But like you said, there's no sidewalks. That's the tough part. They're still walking in the streets.
They are. I mean, there's a bus stop there.
No, I
Bus
know
stop
there is. A
beside
lot of
the-
people park at Price
Yeah.
Chopper and cross over. I know.
Yeah, it's great. So if we put a crosswalk there, you know, at least it gives the police department some teeth to write, you know, people not stopping for them. They can put, you know, they can.
Yeah,
put
but they don't
the-
stop at Hannaford. They stop closer to Verizon.
Yeah, right. Well, they do, but we're looking to ask them to put the crosswalk back further, so people.
But people are not gonna go back to come back.
No, but
I'm
it's
saying they're
easy to
still
cross at
crossing
a
the
light.
corners.
It'd still be easy to cross at a light there, so if they, I mean, who knows, maybe the bus stop, you know, maybe the bus company will stop, you know, they'll stop in front of mobile, because they let them out on that side.
Yeah.
But coming the other way, maybe they'll stop at the crosswalk, you know, and that's something we can court them for, but we gotta get them to agree to do this anyway.
So next step is the letter to,
Just send a letter to the state to kind of
Yeah.
jumpstart this guy's project at
Yeah.
500 gonna go. Like I
Yeah.
said, he was kind enough to, you know, take all that stuff down and remove that eyesore, and he's gonna put something new up there, you know, where it's
So
not,
like retail on the bottom, like a restaurant. type of
yeah,
thing?
yeah.
There's a bar.
No, well, it's
A bar?
rooftop, like, I guess a
Yeah.
bar type thing, but I say rooftop, I would say, I don't think you're gonna be sitting out top, you know, screaming and looking at cars. I think it's
I know.
some sort of
I like it.
outdoor type venue, and indoor type venue, but, you know, I guess that could change too. You know, he's frustrated at the point now where he said, listen, I just assume
yeah,
plant grass there and leave it big and sell it to somebody.
Yeah.
So, which is not, you know, I mean, I don't know, that's not,
Not what
you know,
we
I want.
not what we
put
want.
something there, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, I
Exactly.
agree.
Something's gotta
Yeah,
go there,
I
you know, the
agree.
guy owns a piece of property, there's no reason why you can't build on it. So again, their headache here is the 5 corners, with the DOT, so. And the DOT's, like I said, been difficult a lot with a lot of applicants,
Yeah.
and, you know, I don't know, you know, I guess some of it's justified, but some certainly, I don't believe it. Just,
I mean, I could see the whole cutting in behind Walgreens and all that, but I mean, this is. I don't know. Where they want them, I don't see how that's happening.
yeah,
But I just want to clarify, so you're suggesting a crosswalk near where that exit is from the Price Chopper Plaza, right? That's,
Yeah.
right, is that what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
yeah, down further away from the intersection, because, you know.
Sure, but you know you have a lot of traffic coming
Oh,
on here as
no,
well.
we definitely do, but right now, people are just running through the intersection with no control, you know, no control at all. They're just, you know, if you could go sit at Dunkin' Donuts or Mobile one day and watch people there, it's insanity, you know, they.
No, trust me, I've seen it, I
People
know.
walking every day down in New York City, you know, and they don't have any of them, but here, I think if we push them out a little bit, would give people some time, nobody's racing to beat the light and they're instantly on top of somebody, at least they're back further from the intersections.
No,
think-
I'm just gonna be honest with you, just, it's crazy to come out of Price Chopper sometimes,
Oh.
right there at that section, so
Both.
to have a crosswalk
Both sides.
when you're busy trying to look one way or another way, that's just a tough spot, I
Yeah.
think.
No, I think both ways are. I just
Yeah.
don't, you know, I think, you know, what I think I mean, certainly me, you're gonna advocate for is not to have them close to intersections. You're gonna put them back, any place, put them back there. The town board, as far as I'm concerned, or the town is not in favor of putting them right at the intersection. It's just not a good idea. Move them back. They may say, okay, we're not gonna have any crosswalks and we'll approve the project without them, so. That's a possibility.
Thank you.
But hopefully, listen, I'm sure everybody's, when more engineers get involved in everything, it's gonna be,
You would think they would already know that because of the
it's
whatever.
interesting. So, like I said, if I think no harm, no foul here, I'll send a letter. of
Send it.
support.
Oh, yeah, no, that I
And
definitely-
then let them come back with their comments. I'm sure they're gonna,
Mhm.
and who knows, they may fall on deaf ears to do it. But at least it wasn't for the lack of us trying to help this applicant out to get his stuff down there. The next thing here is, we're gonna try to engage in this. So there's this AAR auctions. Right now, the way we do, our surplus vehicles, and highway has a lot of equipment and vehicles and stuff. We have our fleet guy down in 9W. He, I'll just use, for instance, the police department car. He takes the police department's car down there, strips it down. Adds that equipment to the new car, what have you. He has a blank car. They put it on, Facebook, and they try to advertise it for a week or two. They try to sell it. Somebody comes in and looks at it, they write him a check and he sells it. Simple and easy as that. It kind of takes him out of the game, our fleet guy, to really buying them or showing, it kind of may not look too good if he even buys one. So a lot of times, far often, we have, like, Anthony's got I think a garbage truck or so. I don't know how many people are in the field for buying an old rusty garbage truck. But if we put it up the way he does it for auction for 7, 10, 2 weeks, and nobody bites on it, he may, either Anthony will keep it in his yard, or our fleet guy will, like, here, listen, I'll give you, I was asking 500 for it on the internet, I'll give you 500 for it, and I'll go get rid of it for you, I won't sell it on my own. All fine and great, but may not look the greatest, so in order to make it fair for him, his staff down there came across this AAR auctions, who, they come and do everything for you. They come out, they take pictures of it, they advertise it, they put it up for sale. Now our fleet guy will have the same rights to bid on it as everybody else, and if he's the low bidder guy, he gets it. They don't charge us, there's no cost to us with this. They put the
You mean high bidder?
highest bidder. They put the cost on the person that's buying it, so the town doesn't lose any money, 10% of it or whatever. So if they sell something for 20 grand and there's a $1,500 cost, the person that's purchased is paying that 1,500, not the town. So
Really?
and apparently they have pretty good luck with it. So I said to he's our fleet guy, listen, before I get into this, Dave kind of took a peek at it. I said, I'll get their board, we'll authorize, we'll sign this lease. We'll, again, it's just an agreement. It doesn't lock us into nothing. We can use them. We don't have to use them, but I think it's best that we just actually, if we have a surplus vehicle, let somebody else sell it, let them get rid of it. And then everybody will have, like I said, everybody, our fleet guy or anybody will have the option to bid on it without any wrongdoing looking. So I know, like I said, Anthony's got a bunch of stuff up there that I know our fleet guy went and documented a lot of stuff. I think they're gonna turn it over to this company and have them do it.
They do all the county auctions for the,
They do everything.
Real estate.
Yeah, they do it. And they advertise a lot better.
you could do your real estate,
Yeah, we can, oh yeah.
your town gym.
So that's
Well,
just,
put up with a minimum, they hit a lot of people. I get their mail. I get their emails.
yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, we can do that. So you're gonna see that, to authorize that so we can just start selling cars that way now. Next on the agenda here is I'm sure everybody's seen this Fox Hill subdivision. So what we're close to the finish line with this. I believe Anthony and our engineer are going out there tomorrow to look at the final paving on it and everything else that goes with it. So there are some encroachments out there, if you will, that were of a concern of Anthony's and the engineer talked about it. So I will tell you, this project's been started 20 years ago. Finally, this guy's closing this thing out. And so I think there's 32 homes there. As they were building this project, for whatever reason back then, there was a lot of things that were, I don't know, we just say missed or disregarded, call it what it is, but fast forward to today. A current place, if you were to build it today or subdivision, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be allowed and we wouldn't take dedication to it because of that. However, this thing has been built over the last 20 years. Folks have bought houses out there on the idea of, they can have, they'll have a nice little sign out front. So fast forward, the Fox Hill subdivision has three, which are gonna be on our property if we take dedication in. There's a boulevard entrance. On the boulevard entrance, there's a sign. And on either side, there's two wing wall signs, if you will. Wing walls are, there's not huge. I was out there today, I walked the place. They're not big at all. There's two flagpoles. Ultimately, will end up on town property. Now, this whole boulevard entrance and all, I'm telling you right now, I was surprised on how much land out there now we have to mow in the town. Again, this was a subdivision that was approved 20 years ago, so, I can't, it's no fault of ours, but when I looked at it, part of the planning board process was that when we take that station, we take over all this property. Although there is a small little piece of property out there that we may end up selling to maybe perhaps a neighbor or the highest bidder. Which would kind of help us out a little bit, but. So I know, there's been a lot of back and forth with, between Anthony and engineer, really not wanting to see any of these, the center, sign, the stone sign, the wing walls. A lot of these folks have mailboxes that have pretty stone around them and everything. I understand the concern, with the highway department, whether it be a wing plow or a plow coming through or snow hitting it or what have you. It caused a lot of big uproar when they came to us and, and Anthony, rightfully so, based on the town code and the rules, will say, listen, this stuff can't stay here. It's gotta be removed. So of course, the folks who were out there went out, went crazy. This is not what we were told when we were buying this and, so fast forward, the law office, Dave and his staff crafted a letter to every homeowner out there, which is gonna require them to sign off, each homeowner to sign off on it and have it notarized. And then after that, it's gonna be put in their file here, at the town hall, and it's gonna also be part of a municipal search. So in the event that I live out there at a certain address and I signed off on this and I sell it, and I didn't tell my buyer that mailbox post is really illegal, that it'll be part of the municipal search. So when that new person buys it, they're gonna be aware that it's illegal.
I was gonna ask.
So again, obviously not liking Anthony, and I get it, fair enough, because he's the one that have to put up with it. Although the maintenance part of it, as far as mowing and stuff, is gonna probably be on the buildings and grounds. Part of this, what any of these encroachments are gonna be, are told to these people. And I would think Anthony probably agrees. I think he actually started a whole list of all the houses in towns that have problems with encroachments, like mailbox and walls and stuff. That we have to, that's one of the to-do lists to notify those folks. But these folks are gonna sign off that the center wall, stone wall, and two wing walls, and any other encroachments on any properties are their responsibilities and their responsibilities only. So, for instance, the two wing walls and the center wall, if it gets hit, gets knocked down, we pick it up, it comes down, it stays down, end of conversation. If a wing plow or a garbage truck or whatever hits a wall out there, anything that to do with the town, hits something on somebody's end of their driveway, it's the homeowner's problem, not ours. It shouldn't have been there to begin with. So we're gonna get them to sign off on it and allow them to keep these like everybody else has in town.
And if we don't sign it,
So, that was the question. So I think we're gonna give them to them. I think we'll get them all to sign, but if they refuse to sign it,
I
that
would
was,
expect some to say no.
I would say that some are gonna probably say no,
So
then.
you just put in their file that they didn't sign.
So
It's
we're
not
gonna,
part
we're
of
gonna
municipal
put
search.
refused on it and put it in their file, and then when they come down to somebody hit it, we're gonna say, listen, we tried to. I think it's gonna be almost the same difference that when it gets passed along to somebody sells their house to the next person. I think they're gonna run into the same thing where you didn't tell me, and I didn't know it, and it wasn't a municipal search, we messed up or something.
Isn't
So-
this the neighborhood that's supposed to have the sidewalk?
So this neighborhood is supposed to have the sidewalk, they have lights now, they were supposed to have the sidewalk. So I will.
But say the sidewalk was built, there wouldn't be this problem because
No,
all
but
of
they're
these
all
walls
these
would be
people
on
put
the-
these
hitting the
fancy
sidewalk.
mailboxes.
No,
everything.
because the sidewalk's only been on one side of the street, so the other side of the street would have had problems anyway.
So it would have mitigated one
So
sidewalk.
it would have, well, I mean, would have though, because people incorporate stuff in sidewalks and
There's-
our right of way is still. can be
rock walls, there's all
10
kinds of stuff.
Yeah, you gotta see.
So now you gotta take all the rock
there
walls
was
out.
a lot. There wasn't I thought there was gonna be a lot more than there was when I went out there today. It really wasn't an awful lot, but there are some fancy,
Yeah,
lantern posts at the end of the road driveway.
What kind of cost is this to take that stuff down?
It's on them.
it's-
I'm just saying,
The homeowner.
typically, how much do you think?
You know, it all depends on what they got. I know that. I mean, it could, you know.
You
could
mean for the
cost-
homeowner to take it down to replace it?
It could,
It's probably gonna be 10 grand
Well,
a pop.
yeah, but yeah, that's gonna be on them. I mean, for them, there's two options here. Everybody takes everything down and it is what it is, because it wasn't us.
Nobody's gonna do it.
My concern is, and I think this is kind of on, and I'm gonna say it kind of on us, is that this thing has gone 20 years.
Mhm.
In 20 years, no one's picked up on those sidewalks, CO's been issued.
Mhm.
20 years, these end posts been picking up, the pretty signs, and nobody's been picking up. I think, you know, I think there was a reason why nobody picked up on it. Because I don't
Wasn't the
think,
developer responsible for these things?
I was a broker on
No.
2 deals and there's nothing saying these are coming out.
yeah, it's.
Because you're buying a bag of goods, that's not true.
But wait, but who put these encroachments up?
The builder did.
No, or homeowners.
Well,
There was.
the builder put the
So
original
the
ones,
signs, the stone signs were definitely put up by the builder, 100%.
but then
He
the
did
builder
not-
didn't do the sidewalks either,
But
so.
the builder didn't do sidewalks, but I gotta say,
The builder's error onto the homeowner.
no, not really, because the homeowners want them. They don't want them, they don't want the signs taken down, and they don't want us to dismantle their
They
mailbox
were under
posts.
the impression that it was okay.
To stay there,
Well,
100%.
They don't want the sidewalks.
They don't want the sidewalks, they don't even want the lights, but the lights got up, and I said, listen, if we're gonna agree, so the planning board has agreed to not have the sidewalks, because it goes on the planning board. I said, there's no way we're gonna do away with sidewalks and then not give you lights, because we're forcing people to walk in the street.
Mhm.
And now not be lit,
Right.
not gonna happen. So I made them put the lights up. So the lights, Dan Giron from ADC, or I think it's ADC, yeah. It's just, listen, again, I will tell you, I will say this, that, you know, since within the last 4 or 5 years or so, our engineers have been on every builder out there and picking on things. I don't care if it's a tree planting or whatever it is. For the prior 15 years of that, there was no interaction between our engineer and that. Why? I don't know. I can't answer what happened in the past. But however, if it was picked up then, it would have been an issue. However, you know, it's one of those beg for forgiveness and ask for permission. Yeah, we could have got a couple 100,000. out of it. There's some developments now, Meadowbrook, some other developments that have actually, since they've gone to the planning board, said, we don't want to put sidewalks. What can we do? Write us a $200,000 check for recreation and you don't have to put sidewalks in. They agree on it and they do that. That didn't happen here.
Well, yeah, what is the status of the deal?
This
with the
guy,
sidewalk?
this guy didn't do it because there was he must have knew somebody in town, I want to guess, and it just didn't happen. And now fast forward to today, it's like, you
Were we
know,
brokering a deal to take the road in exchange for the lack of sidewalks? Wasn't there?
no,
certain-
so he had to go back to the planning board.
Mm.
He went back to the planning board to, have them relieve him of the sidewalks, and they did.
In exchange for what?
So, no, they didn't do anything with them. They just said, okay, you can do them, but you have to do the lights and you have to, again, it's a miss on the town. The town screwed up by not picking up, like, for me, I'm like, you know, for instance, fast forward, there's gonna be another subdivision, perhaps going in
Right.
soon, maybe upstate
Yeah.
properties.
Mhm.
And I said right from the get-go, what I'm hearing not, that the first house that gets put in and the first house that gets a CO, if there's not a sidewalk in front of it, they don't get a CO. That's how it should be done. That wasn't done here for whatever reason, and you can read between the lines.
Mhm.
That wasn't done then. And
Yeah.
then fast forward to today to tell all these people, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. I don't think it's right. I mean, these people were not, I think they were sold a bill of goods and it, you know, when it happened,
Mhm.
and then they weren't told certain things when it didn't happen. And at the end of the day,
The other thing that's not gonna happen is we're not gonna be left with an acre of land to mow that's like, and to plow 2 lanes that are the size of this table.
It's
all
absurd.
like stuff that's like, how did that even happen?
Mm.
it's absurd.
It's,
So,
it's gonna cost the town, how much money you think, if you put a number on the plowing, all
What
the
did you
stuff?
agree to
well,
take the
plowing, I think we had to do anyway.
No,
Right.
the way it is.
Oh, yeah,
If it was
no.
a straight normal road, you gotta freaking finagle.
No,
the thing.
there
I mean,
is,
it's gotta
there's a
pay.
couple cross things. Listen, 100%. I looked, you know, I just looked at the center island and they got the Belgian block around the center. You know, and I saw it, I said, what are those things there? And he goes, oh, the ramps you gotta set up to get the mowers up on top of the island to mow. And I'm like, you kidding me? He goes, oh, we wrecked more decks. And I'm like, for me, for the planning board to put that on the town, I think it's wrong. I think there should be HOAs. Nobody does HOAs. There should be HOA and they should be paying for all that stuff. So I think going forward, as long as, at least as I believe this board's here, that we're gonna put that on people to make sure if you're gonna put a subdivision, you're gonna have an HOA, you're gonna take care of your drainage ponds, you're gonna take care of your own mowing. The town shouldn't, we're not in the mowing business for people, because now I'm using, quite frankly, tax dollars for, you know, nobody's mowing my neighborhood or my lawn, you know, they gotta do it out
Well-
there. So again, this was something that was done 20 years ago. We can't, you know, I can't fret over it. So this letter, we feel is gonna, gonna cover us, if you will, if those signs come, if something happens to them, they get damaged, they're coming down. We're not gonna put them up. They're done with. And the same with,
It's too late to not cover it.
the same with, well, I mean, no, I mean, he did, they're going out tomorrow. Anthony's going out with, the engineer to look to confirm the blacktop was done right, the catch basins were back, the ponds are all clear, and they have their punch list of things they do. And at the end of the day, they can do that, but, I think the biggest thing is that, you know, these front signs, you know, for me, I think at the end of the day, if, you know, they look nice, they do. If they get damaged, like the Butterhill sign, the Butterhill sign got damaged, I think still maybe paid for part of that too, right? Did you kick in for it?
Yeah,
It's done by the homeowners. Well, no, the old one, you know, their old one, so the homeowners paid for it, it wasn't on the town. This letter is telling you if that sign gets damaged and you're gonna look at me, it's coming down, you're not gonna know, end of conversation, that's what this is. So, which is, you know, listen, it's been there for 20 years and it hasn't come down, I'm kind of banking on another 20, it'll probably be good. But this letter will cover us that in the fact that if it does get damaged, it comes down and it doesn't get replaced. These people will be, they'll be aware of that. And then as far as, you know, there are no sidewalks, that was the planning board, we leave them with that, all the lights are up, and it seems like everything's getting done. The guy did his paving, the paving job, to me, I'm no expert, but, you know, it's nice and quiet when you're riding on the road. It looks like they did a nice job, so we'll see tomorrow, but again, this letter is covering us in reference to those stuff that are in the town.
We still have a bond of this, guys, that's pretty massive.
We do,
So
we do,
if you find if you hate something, you can always try to figure it out,
yeah,
but
we do.
I think the answer
And
was
that's,
the HOA, that would be the answer.
Well, you know what?
That's what they do in
For me,
Florida now.
I-
It'll be $100 a year.
I don't know
but
why they don't
They
do
got
that.
it. and they use
I
it.
don't know why they don't do them today. It's beyond me. I have no. Everybody should have them and well, you know, we got problems down the street with another you know, Covington, you know, no HOA and it's every day, it's an email to me. You know, what about my garbage? What about this? And, you know, even though they're not you know, totally done and approved, I'm like, that's not me. I'm not, you know, but if they had an HOA, it wouldn't be an issue.
How could they
You
do
know?
that with that one? That's crazy.
It's nuts, and I think it should be put, I think it can be put on the planning board and you know, make them do that in their agreements. That they're doing.
That's a pretty big thing, though. I think you gotta go through the AG and the state and everything to get.
Yeah.
I've actually done those. They fall hard.
So that's the letter that I'm looking to send to them. We advertised it and one family came in so far and signed for it. That's it. So I had asked, I don't know, Dave's got, I think him and I are gonna be going out and knocking on doors and making, you know, making folks sign for it. And again, I don't know, is that what I know we briefly touched on it. If they don't, if they refuse, you just put refuse on it and put it in a file,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
I mean, the stuff that's on their property, if it's in the right of way, the town code covers that
Clearly.
anyway, that's their responsibility.
Clear, yeah, right.
You know.
I
As
just-
far as the signs are concerned, you know. There's not, it's not on the site plan,
Right.
so if the town wanted to require them to take it down, the town could require them
Yeah.
to take it
No,
down.
100%.
Fact of the matter is, from what we hear anyway, none of the homeowners wanted to come down. So you would think, now I don't know that this is actually gonna happen, but you would think that when we actually approach these folks with the letter and ask them to sign for it, with the understanding that if, you know, let's say 3/4 of them decide, no, we don't want to sign it, well, like I said, the town can take it down.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, if
So
you
they
don't,
refuse, and
majority.
Then refuse to
Yeah.
sign, the town could make the decision to just take the signs down and be done with it.
So I asked
So
some
we'll
of the
see
people.
how it goes.
Some of the people live out there, I asked if we can have somebody get the message to them, come in and sign for these, because I'm trying to save us some work from going out knocking door and door. Come in and sign for them. If I don't get anybody come in and only one family does it, it means they want it down. So I'm gonna end up taking it down. So
Why don't
if you
mail
care
it?
enough, show up. If
Are
you
you
don't,
gonna mail it with a postage plate on
the only
it?
problem is they have to,
We're
we
gonna
can do
go
that,
out
but they have to
Friday.
notarize it.
What I wanted to do was go out first rather than
Yeah.
spend the money.
Right.
Send each letter certified mail,
Right.
$10 or so, you know, for each one. And have no assurance that they're actually gonna even pick it up, because certified mail doesn't actually go to the house. You just get a notice. If there's a letter at the post office, for them to pick up. And I can't tell you how many times nobody goes to pick it up.
Mhm.
So why waste the money? So
Yeah,
we're gonna go out there first, I think. And see, like I said, what kind of luck we have, and we'll go from.
and quite frankly, we'll play that by ear. Well, hopefully that'll happen in the next week or so. You know, if Anthony gives the work that he feels outside this, the blessing, then I tell you, we you know, the majority may rule on this, if there are only 3 people who want to sign, everybody else who want to, that means they don't care that they're there or not. And then we're gonna take them down, simple as that, you know, not that hard, so, we'll see what kind of response we get, and we'll go from there. Next one, number 12 was the tax exemption. The Cornwall each year asks for us to exempt them from taxes on, property there's to their water infrastructure.
Well, you can.
And we always say no.
I was thinking it's like-
So that was how we reciprocated one another. We charge each other our taxes. So I don't know if anybody feels any differently, but I think it just opened up floodgates because everybody's gonna want it. Then we don't do it. So every town, city, village around us that don't want it. So
Gotta be on Windsor.
yeah. And I don't think it's really that much. I think it's just something that they do. Yeah. And the last thing is we're gonna be, I think we're gonna call for a public hearing for this, for the tax exemption thing, for the, so the property tax exemption for volunteer firemen and ambulance workers. So the school districts, Newburgh School District I know has, and Washingtonville I know has, quite honestly, I'm not certain 100% Cornwall, maybe they have, maybe I can check, have adopted the tax exemption, so the only way that you can get this is if you live in the town of New Windsor and you're a volunteer, either an ambulance or a fire department, you know, when you go you have to do by March 1st, if you go to the assessors, he sits down, he checks all your stuff, and you get the exemption. So right now, the volunteers have an exemption we have on file. However, the state passed a new law that we have to adopt the new law. The new law is gonna give you a little better property tax exemption than what we have now. Right now is a very, very small portion of the property tax exemption. So the new law gives you a better exemption with that. And also the school, although it has nothing to do with particularly this one, when they come in to file this to get the new 10% discount, they'll look at your school, and if your school district's eligible for it, you'll also get that one. The school district is really where they make, you get the savings on.
How much is this exemption again?
It's 10%.
10 for us.
It'd be assessed value.
Yeah, it's just, and it's, like I said, it's not, it's, I can tell you right here, it says the existing exemption provides a 10% exemption, but it's capped at a market ceiling value of 3,000 multiplied by the latest equalization rate. For January 2025 tax bill, the market value cap will be 28,195, and it doesn't apply to special tax districts. The new exemption is a straight 10% reduction with no cap. It also applies to the town's special district taxes. If approved at the December town board meeting, the first tax bill to be impacted will be the January 2026 tax. So, and this is, there's quite a bit of volunteers, both firemen and ambulance.
130 at the top, there must be some kind of, does it say?
You have to be an active member of the fire department.
2 years.
So, yeah, well, you have to be in the fire department for 2 years, but you gotta be an active member, and active member status on your fire departments go based on your roles, on how long you've been there for,
So
and
like, for example,
So-
Wellsgate, how many hours a month you have to be?
it depends on how long. So like a life member, like I am, I can work, my percentage of fire calls and drills and truck checks and all this stuff are far less than somebody that comes in after 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
So it's all based on their percentage, and that's their, not only membership, but it's for their insurance points thing too as well. And it's revenue neutral, quite frankly, that person that gets the break on this, which they get now. Whatever you make up on that, actually gets pushed off the, like anything else we do, you know what I mean? So it's revenue. Todd would be proud of me when it's, every time I bring it up, he's like, yes, yeah. So that's gonna be, we're gonna call for the public hearing for that. And so just a couple late additions. I just wanna throw you guys, so we're gonna do, you're gonna see also on the agenda. So probably the next couple days, I'm gonna probably be putting out a conserve water advisory. So New York City just did, they're asking us to conserve water.
Yeah, saw them at Hudson News
The
today.
town's gonna probably, New Orleans is gonna probably do something, and the minute I do, it's gonna pour out, which is good, so we'll get some rain out.
It's supposed to rain this weekend.
Yeah, so, with that, the town, as you guys know, we feed the town of Newburgh water.
So-
They've actually asked us to increase it a little bit. Their Chadwick Lake is a little lower than they want it to be for their comfort. There's a pump that we have, there's 2 pumps, one that's in the water and one that's out of the water in Brown's Pond that we used years ago. The town of Newburgh's looking to grab one of those pumps and use it. So we have a, intermunicipal loan equipment with the town of Newburgh now for valve exercising thing for water and for generators. We don't have one for this pump. So in talking with them, with Gil and there's folks, we're just gonna do a letter to add this pump to there. So what we're gonna do, the pump's actually in the woods. We gotta pull it out of the woods. I'm not certain if John's reached out to Anthony yet, but I know that was, I know you guys talked about it a while ago, but now I guess it's a pretty heavy lift. And literally, because you gotta use a loader and put on a flatbed. That's gonna come back. We're gonna service it. I believe at the cost of the town of Newburgh. And then we're gonna let them have it on hand in the event that they gotta do some pumping of from one part of the lake to the other, but. They're in, even the DEP, I had a conversation with the DEP today, and they're in a kind of a bit of a panic state in regards to this water thing here, so. Also on there, you're gonna see there is some, we're gonna do unpaid utility bills. So Susan's office gave me one, and they're actually up. This year's unpaid utility bills are 1,023,554.14, up from like 933 last year, right? Yeah, 960, yeah, so.
Same time.
Yeah, so every year when they're unpaid, we do a motion to, I guess levy them, right, on their taxes. So, that's one, and then there's 147 unpaid fire inspectors also gonna be put on taxes for $11,375. You're gonna see that on the agenda for Wednesday as well. And then I think you guys all saw that the sales tax check was up, I think was pretty good. And we just got our couple of months of mortgage tax. I think I shared one with you guys today, the October one, but we never got the September one. And we just got that today too as well. We asked for that, and it's, you guys see, we're in the surplus with that, so we're doing well with that. So hopefully next year will be. And I'm gonna probably put this week on the town social media. Today, I had a resignation from the ethics board. One of the ladies in there is retiring. She's a Newburgh school teacher. She's leaving the state.
Principal.
Principal, I'm sorry, it's the principal, and she's leaving the state too. They're moving to Florida. So, I'll accept her resignation, with regrets, and then I'll put that on social media. We did it in 2021, December 6th, we put it up, and just basically looking for anybody that's interested in being an ethics board, just apply to my office, and we'll talk about what interviewing like we did last time, whoever it is, and hopefully get them hired. But that was the only unexpected stuff there. Anything else on the board before we go to executive session? No, very good, Charlie, anything now? Before we go to executive session?
I know. Make a motion to go to executive session.
And I will second.
Yeah.
For the purpose of some litigation things we got going on.